So this is the gas chamber that did a lot of executions in with lethal injection and also gas chambers. You can see there's a vent up top to control to pull the gas out once the condemned was pronounced dead. And they used this after the prison closed, and there were quite some executions going on. Some of the crimes and victims, there were a lot of murders, murder, strangulation, murder, shot, murder. Mostly, pretty much murderers were the ones who ended up meeting their demise here. And we'll go through here and here's where they entered. And then there, they would drape curtains over the windows until they got the inmates strapped in, and then the other side was for viewing. And then when they were ready, they would open the curtains. Back in here is where they would, it's a one-way glass so they can see through. You have controls here to basically bring in the fresh air and purge the system, crank these cranks, and they would flip these breakers. Or no, not these breakers. They had a control unit that they would push buttons, but they didn't know which one was the lethal dose. And you can kind of see there was where the gas would come in to the chamber that they no longer have connected, but this is for the actual lethal gas. And then we'll take you to, these were some final holding cells here where they would be waiting to come in. These were the final cell. There's actually cells across the way I'll take you to that they ended up being in until their sentence was, all the appeals were exhausted and everything. So, this way. This actually was where they would be waiting before they went into those other cells. So they would be in here, and this would kind of be their last cell. So this would be considered the death row. There weren't many cells.
They'd probably be in these cells for like a week or so.
Sometimes longer.
Sometimes longer. This is so cool.
Oh, you got the artwork in there.
Yeah. They had time on their hands.
You got little showers in each area, pretty much no doors. I mean, they had a shower curtain, but pretty much they're not going to go anywhere because you got bars on everywhere around there. There's metal plates.
And these doors were shut, I'm sure.
Yeah. It's another shower. So this is extra cells. Probably bringing them in here sometimes to basically let you know, hey, you're one step away. Down here we have the women's cell block because they did have women in this prison. And this was a separate wing from the rest of the prison, obviously for good reason. This would be the bullpen. This is where they'd be waiting until they get assigned a cell. So this is kind of once they got in process and everything. And they basically were being waited to get a cell down the hallway, which is right down here. This is a very active wing of the prison. A lot of women get affected more here. It's almost like, because it's the women's wing, they don't really want to see women on this side of the bars.
This is where they'd have all the names.
Yeah. And it's slide their little names in so they knew who was where. As you can see, it shows 0. And that was pretty much once it closed. Probably where they kept extra uniforms.
Probably linen.
Yep. Bedding, all that good stuff. And this was a drawing done by one of the inmates. Law library, a lot of inmates would get time out of their cell to be able to do stuff like this, so they would obviously volunteer for that. And here we have the law library. Quite spacious, quite big.
Now, was this a co-ed law library or? Do you know?
Yeah, I believe they allow the inmates to get their books, do anything with the law to try and plead their cases, work on that, and gave them time out of their cell. Usually it was people who were basically not at risk. And pretty much it here, so come out this way. And I'm gonna go close that door. So in between each cell block, they had plumbing and wire and all the piping and stuff. This door, I can't get it open, but I think there's one more floor where it is open, and all of the plumbing, drains, and everything go behind the cell block instead of on one outside wall. Here we have another cell block just identical to the rest. There is one other place I'd like to take you into just to see. This is some sort of a storage unit that nobody's really investigated here. Nobody's really wandered in here. It's kind of off the beaten path. Kind of like a little labyrinth of storage. You can kind of see there's a walkway and probably had shelving and stuff here. Whatever. It's off this way too. I think maybe they had something a little more important here with the artillery. You know, guns, things like that.
Supplies.
Ah, restroom. When you gotta go, you gotta go.
I'll shut it.
Okay.
That probably scared them.
Yeah. All right, so we're now on the bottom floor. We're going to go over to the maximum security wing of the older version of the prison. All right, so we're going to go to max. One more.
Could be the walls are thicker.
Want me to talk about this? This is how you control the cell block doors. You can actually disengage certain cells on this one, so it's a little more high tech. So you can turn off, keep doors closed so they didn't, come out and start fighting. You would, if you wanted to open a specific door, you would just trigger it, and then to open or close, you switch this, put the crank on, give it a turn. You want me to?
Yep.
Crank it. All right, so we'll close the doors. Now they're all locked in for the night.
That's so cool.
And open it back up. All open. All right. And so here we have the solitary, maximum security, double security, just in case the inmates were a little rambunctious. They could open this up and say, hey, we're gonna come in, you're gonna be good, you're gonna comply. They said, screw you, they just close it back up, all right, we'll come back later. So you had this door to keep them in this. Then you also have a secondary cage door that closes. They pass their hands through to get cuffed. So they'd be in here, closing the door, and very little light comes in here. It'd be really dark, even during the day. Up here, there would be a little bit of light passing through, just so you wouldn't be in total darkness. And they could turn on and off the lights. So the whole cell block down here. We'll go down and check out where the intake is, where they kind of, this is the men's side, this is where all the men were. The women's section was completely separate. There would be intake, line up on the line, wait till you get assigned to a cell. No talking, no yelling. Pretty much just better be good, or otherwise we'll leave you in here for a while. And these were the cells that they were assigned to. They could go right from intake into their cells. There is, this is the door, these are the doors that I use the crank that I'll close at the same time, but you can bypass it. There's a little mechanism system inside of these that disengage or engage with the switches. Pretty cool. All right, so we're heading into the infirmary now, and actually I had a hospital here to do minor things, but no major surgeries or anything. Had little classroom, discussion room, plan for the day, anything like that. Supplies, probably garments, walkers for the doctors, changing their lab coats or whatever. Watch your step right here. Another room. So in the infirmary, it had a little bit of different of a setup. They would actually, if they brought certain inmates in for maybe a check or whatever, and they had too many of them, they just put them in these kind of little intake type cells until they got called to go see the doctor. Another cell here. And then you have doctor's offices where they would see patients. So little area to exam. Probably the doctor's desk would be in there, and in here you would examine patients. Me and the inmates see what's going on. Another doctor's office. Another doctor's office here. As you can see, they had windows in here so the guards could keep an eye on, make sure nobody was, trying to attack the doctors or anything. Got a little hydrotherapy bed here. They thought it calmed certain people, especially with like schizophrenia and stuff. Didn't really work too well. And another office. Then this I would say this probably was the pharmacy where you can get your meds. We'll pass through here where they give the prisoners their meds through here. They have shelves and everything to be able to keep everything protected. This was probably review X-rays. Oxygen was in here, so maybe there was also, we got dressings, eyes wraps, sterile cleansers, cream swabs, so everything. Probably treat somebody for some minor injuries, and you could also review the X-rays. They actually did have a dental office in here, keep people's teeth going, or pull them, extraction probably mostly. You got the dental lights. There's a chair that's actually in another room, but it probably was sitting right here when they found it. This just recently opened up too, so this is kind of a bonus area because it hasn't really been ventured too much. There's the dentist chair, actually from the place. They found it covered in dust and brought it in here, and they thought it'd be cool to put it right there. So. This looks more like maybe an operating room.
This would have been an operating room, yeah.
Yeah.
You got your operating light.
Yep. And area to keep all your utensils and tools and everything at your disposal. Let's see the heavy-duty beams on this place. Here, caution, X-ray, hazard. Stand behind the thing and activate. And X-rays would be taken in here. In case somebody got a broken arm, broken legs, if their finger was messed up, or toes, or whatever, that's where they check them out. Face the wall. I'm talking. This is the more modern version of the prison, and this you have the guard area. They can see into all the cell blocks. One on this side, one on that side. And we'll come over here. Here you go. Day room, common area. All of the cells upper and lower.
I think they would have had like tables,
Yeah, they would
picnic
have
table type deals.
Actually, yeah, I would think they had tables. Might have been something super heavy in concrete, something like that, so they couldn't lift them and throw them. Park bench type. These cells were actually a lot bigger, one to a cell. A lot bigger than the ones that were in there. They kind of had a desk and an eating area, and that's why they could eat in here and stuff. And a lot of prisoners would go. One of these doors, you can see upstairs, downstairs, and I think this was all push button lockdown.
No more cranking. They would feed the fruit to the little flaps.
Like that. Upstairs, downstairs, they're all pretty much the same. this is the new version. So this is more something you'd see modern time. Self-closing doors. There's the control room.
It wouldn't take too many officers to run the place.
No, they have open, close, lock. Upper tier wing, they can turn cell doors open and close.
They probably just had 2 people working up in here.
Yeah. This guy watching this side. This guy could control the doors. This is interesting. Ethnic codes.
Ethnic codes?
Yeah. Unknown.
Aliens stayed here. Emergency cell door release, fire door release, recreational yard doors.
Communications, phone lines. Probably all the controls for the panels.
Yeah.
Okay, so B wing on the when you walk in the front door on the right, A wing on the left. There we go. 9/11/01. We will never forget.
Oh, cool. What's to your left over there?
Oh, this is so you could watch the yard. They actually could pop this open. And if they needed to, they could aim a weapon out here and shoot him. And this is where all the yards that they could come out and exercise and get some fresh air and stuff. Obviously, this place get a little stuffy. And there's your rifle mounts and holders. And down in there, and the stocks and triggers. Probably more than that was in here. Alright, so this is where they would come out, probably an hour a day, depending on what they did, and they had they'd close them in here, undo their handcuffs, and do their leg cuffs, and then they could basically come out here and work out, do jumping jacks, stuff like that. Make a phone call.
Make a phone call? Do they all? Oh, they all have.
They all have.
No.
All of them, but most. Like
There's 2 phones.
Yeah, these 2 do.
I don't see any spot for phones anywhere else.
No. So this might have been if they wanted to make a phone call. Do not cross red line.
This is a yellow line.
There's a red line there. But you can see these are the windows where they could open up and use the bars as a mount and take somebody out if they needed to.
Do not approach gun port.
Yep. No climbing out of there. You get a mess of trouble. So looks like they had enough for probably one row of inmates. They probably bring them out one at a time, walk them out. Get a little bit of fresh air and place to just kind of see what you're missing.
This is your yard. This is your hour of fun.
Yeah.
You have your personal rage in a cage.
Well, it's bigger than my first apartment balcony, so this is a different type of pod. It was more smaller, more condensed. Built a little bit more like the regular prison. You have visitation rooms where you could sit and talk to somebody on the other side for the visitors. This is the only closest they could get to that front door. And they could watch them up here.
I guess visitors, yeah, public visiting,
Yeah.
come through here. This would be the public side, pretty much matches the other side.
Mm-hmm. Classification. I think this is where they decided where they were going to go. Interview. Staff offices. This is all area, but now we're getting into storage. I think, yeah, here we go. Here are the wings of the block. So this is A wing. Looks a little more like what we saw at the end of the main prison.
They got a little desk, a little chair.
And hinge sliding doors too. They're locked. So handcuffs come through here. Place is a lot quieter. Had cameras monitoring the whole hallway. Pretty much once you came out of your cell, you knew it. And as you can see, these cells are kind of designed a little bit, you know, more shelving. Have a little desk here they could write. They actually had control of their lights in here, which is weird. Because you can kind of see to sit on this outlet. It looks like maybe somebody tried to start a fire, but these are steel plates. They're not going to set anything on fire with their stuff in themselves.
How do you sit in those seats is the question.
No?
Yeah. You try it.
Just get in here. This, sit down, scoot in. Like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like that. I mean, it wasn't comfortable, but you could write, you could draw, you could do whatever you need.
I bet you anything they just sat in their bunk and...
Yeah, probably. I know. I mean, a lot of people were smaller than we are now, so could have been just a
Couldn't be that much smaller.
Yeah, you see a lot of people nowadays. There's still people that are pretty tiny. That would be fine for them.
10 cells per wing.
Yep. So this would have 10, 20. D wing, 30, 40, the whole 40 inmates, all pretty much the same.
No upstairs, one floor.
There's the EM pump. So going
Did one of those guys leave it here?
B wing.
Or did you put that here?
Oh, I did. I put that there earlier. And storage, and an exit. So that's pretty much how
Pretty
this,
basic.
yeah. It's the intercom so I could talk through the door because inmates would that's actually telephone. Phone booth.
Not very much room for a phone.
No. There it was. It was right there on the wall. Shower. And the controls, if you notice, there's no controls. The controls are out here. Hot and cold. Actually, that's what it looked like right here. So it was a full-on hot, cold. I guess the guards would go, well, I'll just put it in the middle. That'd be, you know, that'd be good enough.
Make them scalding hot. Ah!
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna freeze them out. And these, each one of these, there's I think six or eight of these things on the property.
6, I
Yeah.
believe.
B-wing murder happened here. A black inmate named Joseph Wright was killed, stabbed to death in '88. Storage or office.
Control center. Cool.
Oh, wow. There we go. The controls.
That's your monitors.
You got camera control where you can move the cameras. Viewing. Quiet in here. Fire alarm system. I mean, this place probably would have a hard time burning.
Panels.
Bathroom.
Is it a bathroom?
Yeah, there's a bathroom in there. Probably
wow.
lockers for the police,
Yep.
for the guards to change out of and stuff.
Safety first. We're heading into the culinary.
Yep, this is culinary where you got your food, time to eat. Old tables and chairs, folded down, stainless steel. Can't really sort these tables around and do anything. No loud talking or yelling. And they actually had to put a divider in there, keep the inmates segregated due to gangs or colors or anything like that. Because they had a riot and somebody was stabbed to death in here, so they made it a little bit easier to manage. They would never put two rival groups in chow at the same time. Come along here, pick up their trays.
This probably was a beverage bar right here.
Machine would be. Guards would be in here, watching everything from up high. We got ports for the rifles to come through in case something went down. We're going back into the kitchen area. Prep area, serving area, and prep area here, a lot of prep areas. This is where all the cooking was done. This is cooks only. Big giant hoods for all the cooking to be done. Down here we have the industrial freezers. Don't have the keys for them. They're locked. They're not running, but you can kind of see in there, see what probably produce and stuff would be kept in here. This one's a little bit more of an open space.
Probably kept boxes. Refrigerator boxes.
Carts full of stuff.
Carts, yeah. This one. Just empty space.
Yeah. So, that's probably where they brought in all the supplies and loaded them in. More, this the pantry.
Diet pantry, cooks only.
This is not a break room. This is not your personal snack room. Keep out. That's your janitorial closet here. This is kind of a break room area. They could hang up their butcher's smocks and hang out here, but no smoking. This was a big room for storage, probably all the dry goods and things like that. Lots of shelves and things in here, keep all the food. Seems to be a lot of activity that happens in here too.
Yeah, we're probably gonna have to end it. Well, let's go in the control room. Cause I'm dying.
Where the guards would be. Control room, tool storage. This is where the guards would stand, just in case something's going on. They pop the pin, lift this up, pop the rifle through. Kind of up higher off the ground, so you had more of an advantage. You got the PA system, cooler controls, doors up, down, open, close, tool cabinets, and there's all your ice cream scoopers, ladles. They had to keep track of all the utensils, so prisoners didn't take them back to their cells with them. So.
That's a wrap.